you was somewhere sucking some people dick. Man, you ain't the drill if you walking by the hoe. Breaking bitches is my business, gotta make some cash. Oh, better listen if you wanna learn, cause that shit is sweet. If you wanna make some money, put your bitches on the street. Schooling niggas on the dipping, but I really...
So I just got back from SHOT Show 2026, and I wanted to share with you all a different side of SHOT Show that you probably haven't seen before. If you're unfamiliar, SHOT Show is a firearms industry trade show where companies like Glock, Smith & Wesson, Ruger, Palmetto State Armory, all of them show off their latest and greatest and attract media buzz for their new products. You've seen your favorite gun tubers gushing over the newest prototypes and sharing some other products that will no doubt never make it to market. You'll also see a slew of mom and pop retailers advertising their services in making challenge coins, patches, steel targets, craft-made rifles, and more. But SHOT Show is more than that. SHOT Show is also a networking event for government procurement, marketing new products to law enforcement, and showing off state-of-the-art tech that will ultimately be used against civilians. This is the side of SHOT Show that many only see in passing on YouTube. You might get a quick 2-second clip of one of the MRAPs, but I've never actually seen anyone cover what else is going on other than the latest and greatest guns. This year, I went into SHOT Show with an idea. I wanted to cover how Trump's second term has changed what we see on the floor. That is, how the bleeding edge of tech and things like AI, drones, robotics, and crowd control have become top priority for law enforcement to get their hands on. And after spending a week around these businesses, I can honestly say that the age of the American cyberpunk dystopia is well underway. Not to be confused, I had a great time at SHOT Show this year.
I don't think it's loaded.
However, I wasn't expecting it to be so Israeli. You'd think that in today's age of America First, tariffs, and a Make America Great Again president, that more companies wouldn't be keen to advertise that they are explicitly made in another country. And yet, the Made in Israel label is slapped fucking everywhere at SHOT Show. It's not as prevalent nowadays as it used to be, but there's still this undercurrent of Israeli equals elite, or Israeli equals special forces, or ninja adjacent, and I found several companies who were keen to push this messaging, and their products are usually trash. This is probably why they are so quick to blackmail American politicians for access to superior American-made weaponry. Fab Defense is legitimately airsoft tier products. One of the first parts I ever bought for my rifle was a vertical foregrip bipod combo from Fab Defense, and it was the biggest waste of $60 I ever spent. Israel Weapons Industries does make good guns, I can't argue with this, but I cannot imagine the cognitive dissonance and mental gymnastics it must take to A, work for them, B, be sponsored by them, or just fucking buy their products. If you are an IWI fan, if you are sponsored by IWI, you should reevaluate your life choices. Frontline Holsters is offering a line of leather holsters that will disintegrate within a few months of everyday carry. The woman working the booth saw me filming and asked if I was interested. I told her normally I would have been interested until I saw the Made in Israel badge, at which point I have to pass. I don't even know what this booth is offering. Some kind of IR reflective badge. I don't know. I couldn't care. The guy that was working the booth saw me filming, doing my best to make a video, and he was adamant about talking at my face, even when I was very clear that that would not be necessary. It's not necessary. I appreciate it, though. I understand. As I was editing this video, I asked a couple of friends, am I going a little bit too hard on the Israelis? I didn't want to give anyone who was engaging with my content with a bad faith effort the satisfaction of putting me in a difficult and precarious spot where they portray me as something I'm not. But then I saw this patch that IWI was giving out, and you know what? They can go fuck themselves. The entire city of Las Vegas is an affront to nature itself. It should not exist. It's man's hubris taken to the extreme, a city of excess, vice, leisure, and luxury in the middle of some of the most inhospitable land that the contiguous United States has to offer. Las Vegas is a giant middle finger, a pulsating LED light in the middle of the barren wasteland. It stands to reason that SHOT Show 26 is no different. I came into SHOT Show this year expecting to see some pretty heinous things, but the most cursed Cybertruck I've ever seen in my life, complete with thin blue line tags and multicam camo wrap, caught me off guard. I didn't see as many vomit-inducing custom Cerakote jobs like I did last year, but I did see more people wearing outwardly political shirts, and even some vendors who wanted to weigh in on current events. But nothing captivated my attention like the numerous large-frame drones outfitted with belt-fed machine guns. Yes, I said drones, as in plural. There was more than 2 drones with belt-fed machine guns attached to them. Sig Sauer saw fit to hang this monstrosity above our heads, ominously looking down at the SHOT Show crowd like the eyes of God from The Great Gatsby, waving a belt of 200 rounds of 6.8 special at anyone who dares criticize Sig for their botched P320 fiasco. Don't fret, if you're not a fan of Sig Sauer products, boy is this the time for you, because Colt had their own militarized drone pointed at all of the participants of SHOT Show this year, except theirs was outfitted with a 40mm grenade launcher. I found it strange none of the attendees around me had anything to say about it. It was as if people were walking around completely oblivious to the fact that this was over their head. This booth by Bounce Imaging caught my attention. They had claimed to offer, quote, the world's first throwable 360-degree thermal camera. I'm not sure how to feel about this, but one thing I do know is that this once unfathomable tech will soon be used by law enforcement to brutalize civilians. I'm sure that some people smarter than me in the FOSCAD community might be interested to figure out how to make and publish an open source version of one of these. You would never know at first glance that Mistral Group has just been awarded a $1 billion contract for loitering unmanned munitions. They were tucked away in the Caesars overspill area of SHOT Show. I almost overlooked Mistral Group. As I walked past, I grabbed about 20 seconds of footage, basically as an afterthought. But on a hunch, I did a quick Google search for their company, and let me just show you a few clips from their YouTube, and you can decide what kind of company they are. I saw several products at SHOT this year with AI buzzwords in their elevator pitch. For the life of me, I cannot explain to you what the AI does in these automated drones like you see here. Programs like Betaflight, iNav, ArduPilot, they already allow for fully autonomous missions. My impression is that they are just trying to cash in on that sweet, sweet bubble, baby. I was expecting quite a bit of AI-generated slop this year in the dungeon, which is a disparaging SHOT Show euphemism for the downstairs part of the show. But to my surprise, I didn't actually see that much slop, though there was certainly some. 1 second. Again, I don't really understand what they're trying to accomplish here with an AI trail cam. This tech has been around for decades. Does adding grok to it really help? I guess we'll see if they're back next year, or if this is just vaporware. If you've never seen the Netflix series Black Mirror, you should really check it out. One of the most intense episodes is called Metalhead, about a band of survivors in a not-so-distant cyberpunk dystopia fighting to survive as they're hunted by extremely capable and terrifyingly fast robot dogs. This year at SHOT Show, the near-future cyberpunk dystopia depicted in Black Mirror inches closer yet. I saw more Boston Dynamics robot dogs than ever before. Boston Dynamics wants you to believe that their tech is cute and wholesome. They don't really like to talk about the fact that most of their sales are to law enforcement and private security. I saw these robot dogs with articulating arms mounted with .308 rifle barrels. I saw one opening doors and traversing stairs. I saw big LED displays depicting a robot mounted with some kind of thermal LiDAR hybrid surveillance tech showing off how accurately it can 3D map a room. I saw robots with tracks, robots mounted with bombs, even robots mounted with pepper balls for crowd control, which is another topic I'll come back to in a moment. The clankers are not your friend. And I spent a lot of time at this booth right here, MVP Robotics, as well as Vidar. It seems to me this is Full Cult's Boomerang in action. They were advertising products. It looks as if they were beta tested in Ukraine. A lot of their products were, heavy lifting drones, DIY munitions. They even had a Prusa printer humming along, printing little test prints for people. All of their stuff was very clearly 3D printed. This to me is the Ukrainian war coming home, and I'm not sure that we're going to love the ramifications of companies like this sprouting up in the US. This is not my first SHOT Show, but this is my first SHOT Show where I saw products being offered to start to begin to counter what the impact of drones has done to modern warfare. Take a listen.
All right, so the drone round is a multi-piece projectile intended for unmanned aerial threats. Have them in multiple calibers, 5.56 and 7.62, presented right here. You can see the spread out, suppressed and unsuppressed at various distances. 10-shot groups obviously opens up a little bit with distance, but also a great host for building defense, home defense. You can keep your mag in, and you're still able to rock and roll.
I want to say thank you to Drone Round for giving me a tour of their products. I did ask if they offer any trial products or any samples for testing. They said no, not at this time, but I'm hoping maybe in the future I can secure some of those and show you all how they work. SHOT Show has always been a pig pen. The American firearms industry has been intertwined with law enforcement since the advent of policing itself. On first glance, you don't really notice, but as you begin to really look around, you start to see the thin blue line flags, the culture war t-shirts, and challenge coins and patches that were clearly made for real law enforcement agencies. The cops, for instance, working at the Beverly Hills Police Department booth, looked exactly as you think they would.
Oh, like that?
You've seen the videos. Every year, some company will bring in a huge MRAP, the mine-resistant ambush-protected vehicle, and all the attendees ooh and ah over it. I can't lie, the teenage boy in me thinks they are pretty impressive machines, and I want one. But this year, I counted 3 or 4 from as many different companies, each in different form factors with different capabilities. Clearly, these companies that make these monstrosities are anticipating a surge in demand. I wonder why. SHOT Show 2026 was the year of crowd control and squashing protests, which makes sense given the current political climate. These companies are aiming to get a piece of the freshly bloated budgets afforded to police departments, ICE, DHS, and others under the new Trump regime. And they were quick to show off just how efficiently their new flashy tech can squash those pesky domestic unrest protesters. A company called Genesis had multiple LRADs on display at SHOT Show this year. The LRAD, if you're unfamiliar, is known as a long-range acoustic device, or sound cannon. It's a special piece of hardware that has been described to me as, quote, worse than being tased, being pepper sprayed, or being hit by a stun gun. It's difficult to accurately describe to you, the viewer, what effect this abomination has on unarmed civilians. So instead, I'm going to show you a couple clips to paint an accurate picture. This first clip is a newsreel from January of 2026 from Minneapolis.
I hereby declare this an unlawful assembly.
A powerful sound system first used by the military was in action Monday night in Maple Grove to communicate and disperse noisy protesters.
Well, an LRAD is like a loudspeaker, but it focuses the sound in a narrow cone so that if you're inside the cone, it's extremely loud.
Assembly is unlawful under laws of the state of Minnesota.
We used it in Iraq when I was with the Marines. If you're in the cone, it sounds like the voice of God.
I'm going to share with you what the LRAD actually sounds like. You might want to turn your volume down for this one. And here it is today on the second floor of the Venetian in a Vegas casino, ready to be shipped to your local law enforcement. I bet if you ask them nicely, they'll include a few of these very neat brand Genesis LRAD flashlight pens, arguably my most viscerally unnerving bit of merch from the SHOT Show floor this year. The remote-controlled, less lethal robots at the Pepperball booth caught my eye as I was wrapping up my time on the SHOT Show floor this year. Pepperball is a company that specializes in, quote, less lethal munitions. Eva and I were lucky enough to have a conversation with one of the reps at the booth where he proceeded to show us a video of 10 corrections officers pinning an inmate to the floor and shoving a single-use Pepperball device into his nose to, and I quote, get that fentanyl shit out of his mouth and save his life. We were too disgusted to capture that on video, but I did manage to get this clip of the final part of his speech.
0 to 10 feet, our number one rule is where's the wind?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because the wind could be advantageous to the officers involved.
Do you know what this protest is about?
Look, this is not the SHOT Show video I wanted to make this year. I wanted to go to the desert with my friends and be silly. I wanted to show up, drink, eat good food, and forget about the outside world just for a fleeting moment. But even before I boarded my flight to Vegas, it became clear to me that, upon finding out from TSA that I am on a DHS watch list, this would be a heavy week to bear witness to everything that is going on in the world right now. I don't really want to cover these man-made horrors. I'd much rather be spending my week in Vegas, shooting machine guns with my friends, talking to like-minded folks from the 3D printed gun community, and networking with other content creators and vendors. And don't get me wrong, I did do those things, and I had a blast. But at every single turn, I was shown another bleak reminder of just how fucked up the country I grew up in has become. Most of my fellow gun tubers refuse to even acknowledge politics. I understand the sentiment. To take a side is to inherently alienate a part of your prospective audience, thereby limiting your reach, limiting your ad revenue, limiting your sponsors and brand deals, and bringing on unwanted attention. And those that do speak up are almost always the ones who want to accelerate America's trajectory into a totalitarian police state, or show support for a genocidal ethno-state. Our greatest ally. To be a vocal critic of the police state apparatus means that the most powerful people in the world right now consider you an enemy, even though you have the same First Amendment right as everyone else. Those that came to power on a platform of free speech are now attempting to criminalize that very protected speech they claim to love, but as we know, they are immune to hypocrisy. We're more alike than we are different. We are connected through a passion of firearms and a belief that the right to keep and bear arms supersedes even the paper that it is written on. To refuse to acknowledge what is happening with ICE, with DHS, with Palestine, with the surveillance apparatus as a whole, is to bury your head in the sand. This is not normal. We don't have to live this way. And the first step on our road to a better world is taking inventory of where we're at right now. Speak up before you can't. We're already in the American years of lead. I leave you, viewer, with a palate cleanser.
So if you got something that you like, everybody says, well, I got nice grips for my 1911. I think, well, Imelda Marcos had 2 feet and 3,200 pairs of shoes. Accessorize, right? Exactly. I mean, my Python has the grips that it came with. I have a set of target grips with a thumb rest. Yeah. Then I have another pair of grips that I just use for hunting because they're not likely to be damaged by rain. And then got a friend of mine whose son got married last October, and I got wedding grips. I got scrimshawed grips that I wore to his wedding.
And if not...
A fix, though, right?
May this blade never rust.
Fuck no, jockin' ain't too lucky, look my nigga,